Kendrick Johnson was a 17-year-old high school student in Valdosta, Georgia, when his body was discovered inside a rolled-up wrestling mat in the gym at Lowndes High School on January 11, 2013. He had been reported missing the night before, after failing to return home. Surveillance footage showed him walking into the gym the previous afternoon around 1:27 p.m. That was the last confirmed sighting of him alive. The next morning, students found Kendrick's body in a large, upright mat, head first and motionless. His shoes were off, and one of them lay beneath his feet at the bottom of the mat. Authorities were called to the scene immediately. The mat was 6 feet tall and about 3 feet in diameter. Kendrick's body was lodged vertically, with his feet above and head below, suggesting that he had entered the mat head first. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation performed the initial autopsy and ruled his death accidental. They concluded Kendrick had likely dropped a shoe into the center of the mat, and rather than retrieving it by tilting the mat, he attempted to crawl in head first and became trapped. The cause of death was listed as positional asphyxia, suffocation due to being stuck upside down for an extended period. The case was closed by the Lowndes County Sheriff's Office within months, officially declared a tragic accident. But Kendrick's family didn't accept that explanation. His parents, Kenneth and Jackie Johnson, believed their son had been murdered, and that someone was covering it up. They pointed to several concerns. First, they arranged for a second independent autopsy, which contradicted the official findings. The private pathologist found signs of blunt force trauma to the neck and suggested that Kendrick may have died from a blow, not an accident. The second issue was the condition of Kendrick's body. When it was exhumed for the second autopsy, his internal organs were missing. In their place was newspaper stuffing. This detail sparked public outrage. The funeral home later claimed the organs had been destroyed due to decomposition, and that newspaper was used as a temporary filler, a practice they admitted was unusual but not unheard of. The Johnson family insisted this was a sign of negligence or concealment. Adding to the controversy was surveillance footage. There were over 30 cameras around the gym area, but large chunks of time appeared to be missing from key windows. School officials and law enforcement said the missing footage was the result of unsynchronized cameras and motion-activated recording. But to Kendrick's family, it felt like tampering. In the months following Kendrick's death, national attention grew. Civil rights attorneys and activists joined the family's cause. Public protests were held, and eventually the U.S. Department of Justice launched a formal investigation into the case, reviewing both the physical evidence and allegations of a cover-up. Despite the intense scrutiny, the federal investigation concluded in 2016 with no charges filed. Officials said there was insufficient evidence to prove foul play or criminal wrongdoing. That same year, Kendrick's family filed a $100 million wrongful death lawsuit naming dozens of defendants, including classmates, school officials, and law enforcement officers. The suit claimed Kendrick was murdered and that a massive conspiracy had hidden the truth. But the case struggled to move forward. Judges recused themselves. Key evidence was disputed. Ultimately, the lawsuit was withdrawn, and the Johnsons were ordered to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars in legal fees after the court found that some of their claims were not supported by evidence. Still, the family didn't stop fighting. In 2021, the Lowndes County Sheriff reopened the case after obtaining files from the federal investigation. He said he wanted to give the family a final, comprehensive review. Over the next 13 months, authorities re-examined video footage, interviewed witnesses, and reanalyzed findings from all 3 autopsies. In early 2022, the sheriff concluded again that Kendrick's death was a tragic accident. He stated that there was no evidence of a fight, no evidence of a cover-up, and no credible indication of murder. The family rejected the findings and responded with more legal action. In 2025, a federal appeals court ruled that one of the family's amended civil rights lawsuits, which had previously been dismissed, could be reconsidered. The case was sent back to a lower court to determine whether it could proceed. It remains ongoing. Through all of this, more than a decade of controversy, litigation, and public debate, Kendrick's parents have never stopped insisting that their son was killed and that the full truth has not come out. They continue to believe that someone knows what happened in that gym and that the system failed to bring justice. What remains undisputed is this: Kendrick Johnson was a promising young student. He played sports, had friends, and was deeply loved by his family. He walked into school one afternoon and never came home. And ever since, the circumstances of his death have raised more questions than answers. Was Kendrick's death a tragic accident? Or was it something more? For now, the official record says he died by misadventure, trying to retrieve a shoe and becoming trapped. But for his family and many others, that explanation has never felt complete. This is the story of Kendrick Johnson.